Hello, and welcome to the Jefferson County Public Schools online substitute teacher orientation. I'm so excited about your up and coming journey in the world of substitute teaching that we're going to dive right into things and get started. My name is Brandy Hatcher, and I am the Substitute Center Specialist for Jefferson County Public Schools. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably feeling a little excited, nervous, and anxious all at the same time. And guess what? That's normal. After today's online orientation, you should feel a little more at ease with understanding your roles and responsibilities and expectations as a substitute teacher with Jefferson County Public Schools. In addition to this video, I've also incorporated a training module that you will need to complete in order to receive credit for the orientation, after which you will receive communication on your next steps in the application process. We've got quite a few things to cover, so with that being said, let's get started. Oh, I almost forgot. Before we dive too deep into things, make sure you have a pen and paper available to take plenty of notes. Remember, the first rule of thumb as a successful substitute teacher starts with being prepared. So take a moment to grab your essentials. Are you ready? Great, let's go. For our first segment, we will review the vision and mission statements of JCPS. We will also talk about our responsibility to be ethical in our positions with the district. Next, we will talk through the application process and your next steps in the substitute teacher application process. Then we will move into a short discussion on using absence management. This is the system you will use to view and accept assignments. Following that, we will take a look at the substitute teacher salary schedule and some of the opportunities available to earn extra cash. Finally, we will recap and close. You will have a short quiz to complete, and your certificate of completion will need to be submitted for credit. The vision and mission of JCPS is to ensure all Jefferson County Public Schools students graduate prepared, empowered, and inspired to reach their full potential and contribute as thoughtful, responsible citizens of our diverse, shared world. Also, to provide relevant, comprehensive, quality instruction in order to educate, prepare, and inspire our students to learn. The 10 core values and focus areas of JCPS can be located on the JCPS website. You are encouraged to review the information online to ensure that your actions as a JCPS employee are in alignment with that of our entire district. This is part 2 of the online orientation. In this section, I will discuss the expectations as a substitute teacher, provide a few tips on classroom management, substitute tips, and an explanation on exercising ethics in the classroom. There are simple rules when it comes to exploring the basics of classroom management, like being prepared and being proactive rather than reactive. Let's review some things that a proactive teacher would do versus a reactive teacher. Proactive teachers plan carefully. They use positive reinforcement and avoid negative interaction. Proactive teachers also stay on task by always following a lesson plan and avoiding frequent downtimes. This is very important because downtimes could increase the chances of disruptive behavior. Also, avoid focusing on one student or incident. This allows opportunities for other students to sit idle, and it allows for students the opportunity to make poor decisions. Another tip on being prepared in case of an emergency is to always carry a substitute teacher emergency toolkit with you on an assignment. Your toolkit will help you with building and continuing momentum in the classroom by being prepared for incidents where there is no lesson plan. Should it happen? No. But you never know when something like that could occur. Be sure to take into consideration what grade level and subject you're teaching. This will determine how to build your toolkit, just in case you report to an assignment that has no lesson plans for that classroom. Let's look at some of the things successful substitute teachers know and do and talk briefly about a few classroom management strategies. It is important that you arrive at least 15 minutes early to ensure that you have lesson plans and introduce yourself. This will also allow time for you to review your schedule, allergy information, or special instructions regarding any individualized education plans for students in your classroom. Please note that you will not be allowed to review an IEP, but you should be familiar with the term and/or understand any special accommodations that need to be made. It's also important that you know the school's policy on bathroom breaks, how students are dismissed, go to lunch, and the school's policy on cell phone usage. Other important questions to consider asking are ones concerning any special school rules. Be sure you know who to call for help, as well as the emergency procedures for various events. Let's talk briefly about some things you want to do. Start by getting off on a positive start by arriving early. Arriving early allows the opportunity for you to meet and greet administrators and familiarize yourself with where things are in the school, such as the bathrooms, teacher lounges, the library, the gym, and the computer room. Remember to always take attendance. Finally, be ready to greet the students at the door with a smile. As a substitute teacher, you must practice classroom management techniques to proactively avoid or de-escalate disruptive student behavior. This can keep you from encountering situations where you could potentially lose control of your classroom. Be sure there is open and clear communication of your expectations of the students and explain what your students can expect from you. Always, always, always implement and follow the school lesson plans. Remember, even if things get a little rocky, try to remain calm, pleasant, and positive. Don't be afraid to call for support if you need it. Let's go over a few other suggestions on classroom management strategies. Try using proximity and walking around the room. You should never stay behind the desk in front of the room for long periods of time because you are not able to monitor what is going on in the back of the room. Do not provoke defensiveness, avoid downtime, avoid power struggles, and attack the problem, not the person. The goal is to find out what the student needs, and perhaps that will solve the problem. Finally, never touch a student as a means of corporal punishment. Please note, it is impossible for me to cover every scenario in this orientation. But remember that you can ask for assistance from other peer teachers or school administrators as they are there to support you. As a substitute teacher, you may encounter instances where you need to regain control of your classroom after a break or some excitement at school. Some suggestions to help refocus your students include switching up the seating arrangements, use body language like making eye contact with the disruptive student, remotivating the students with a short pep talk to remind them of the task at hand, or lastly, pause the lesson to observe the classroom. See what the issues or distractions are and investigate what needs to be changed. Never put yourself in a position that could suggest or lead to inappropriate conduct with students. A few more helpful tips include never forget that you are the adult and are responsible for the safety of all JCPS students. Always remain professional and never send text messages or emails to students, and do not invite students to your house. Finally, do not give personal advice about boyfriends or girlfriends. Other conversations to avoid are dating, politics, religion, and sports, especially if rivalry teams played the night before. I am required to cover the ethics outlined by EPSB, the Educational Professional Standards Board. Please take a moment to read the material. A hard copy of this handout will be provided when you attend your pre-employment meeting for substitute teacher. It is your responsibility to ensure that you have read and adhere to the policies outlined in the document provided. Failure to adhere to the commitments outlined by EPSB could lead to suspended certification and/or further disciplinary action. It is also important to note that as a district employee, you are legally obligated to report any and all suspicions of child abuse. Contact information for CPS will be provided when you attend our substitute teacher onboarding meeting. If you're ever not sure if there is an incident that should be reported to CPS, contact the CPS hotline or speak to the school administrator for guidance. In Part 3 of the online orientation, we will discuss how to access the absence management system, which you will use to view available substitute teacher assignments via phone, online, and/or by downloading the app to your smartphone. If you are hired, you will receive instructions on how to log in. You will be prompted to log in using your district user ID. Your user ID is issued by JCPS and is used to access other internal links like JCPS Employee Self-Service or when you log into any district computer. Your password is one that you will set up. If you do not know your user ID or password, you will need to call JCPS Technical Support at 502-485-3552. After you log in, you will be able to view special substitute announcements or notifications regarding assignments. Remember, you will not have access to this system unless you have been hired. The Substitute Center will notify you when and/or if your request for hire has been approved. This is Part 4 of the online orientation. This section will highlight some of the important substitute teacher policies, such as the required number of days to work, evaluations, cancellations, and incentive pay. Substitute teachers are required to work a minimum of 5 days a month. There is also an evaluation form that principals can complete to express concerns regarding poor work performance of substitute teachers and request that substitutes not be allowed to return to their school. If you receive a negative evaluation, you will receive a copy of what the principal submitted and will be required to submit a response within 7 days. If numerous negative evaluations are received, or there are serious allegations regarding poor work performance, you may be suspended or removed from the substitute teacher roster. The substitute teacher salary schedule is available online and included in the substitute teacher handbook. Any incentive options for additional pay are also included on the salary schedule. Please note, the salary schedule may change if the board approves modifications at the end of each school year. Be sure to report any payroll challenges concerning your paycheck to our payroll department at 485-3248. It is important to note there is no school on snow days. In the event that we experience inclement weather, please check the news, your JCPS website, or call the sub-center to verify whether or not school is in session for that day. And substitute teachers do not report for work. Remember, when reporting for an assignment, check your attitude upon entry. Keep it positive. Always, always, always take attendance. It's helpful to start off with an engaging activity. Always implement your lesson plan. It is not optional, but mandatory. Lastly, it's helpful to provide positive feedback to your students for the day, and also provide the full-time teacher of record with a report on how the day went. Keep the school in the loop of any incidents that may have occurred, and be sure to report any and/or all challenges. Important reminders: do not go to any school without a job number. Implement all lesson plans and ensure the safety and confidentiality of student records. Do not send text messages or bring personal reading materials to work because you cannot read them while on an assignment. Be sure to read and adhere to EPSB ethics and JCPS policies and procedures. Be sure to watch your discrimination and harassment video and complete the quiz as it is required by all JCPS employees. Remember, every JCPS substitute is required to work a minimum of 5 days a month. If you run into a situation where this doesn't seem feasible, please notify the JCPS Substitute Center for review and approval. If you successfully complete and pass all requirements for the substitute teacher position, you will be approved for hire and receive a JCPS email account. It is important to monitor your JCPS email to view pay stubs, important updates, and more. Remember, it is impossible to cover all requirements during this presentation. It is the substitute teacher's responsibility to read and adhere to the guidelines in the Substitute Teacher Handbook located on the JCPS homepage. Thank you for your time. This completes the Substitute Teacher Online Orientation. You will need to take and pass the quiz over the information that we've just covered. There is also a short video and quiz on sexual harassment and discrimination. By now, you should have received an invitation to our substitute teacher pre-employment onboard meeting. Here, you will complete new hire paperwork for review and approval. Keep in mind, if you are approved for hire, you will have 30 days to complete your new JCPS substitute teacher online training modules on classroom management. Thank you again for joining me today. Best wishes. We hope to see you soon.